Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid preview. This is the preview to Valencia against Real Madrid. Coming back off, a couple of games that haven't been very convincing, but just about getting the job done. I think Real Madrid have to win this game, and you know, away from home, yet another away game. Um, it's gonna be tough, and the last time we played Valencia, the game ended 5-1. It was an incredible game. Absolutely smashed Valencia. But away from home, it's going to be different. It's going to be harder. It's going to be a different game. So it's going to be a lot more tougher um, to go there and to win and play well. But I think it can be done. And I think, certainly we have showed this season that we have what it takes. Now, looking at the table, 6 points is the gap between Real Madrid and Girona. That is 2 games worth of defeats that Girona have to win. That is 9 points clear of Barcelona. That's 3 games. And Atletico Madrid are so far behind with 13 points. It's 4.5 games. So I think that the table, I do think that Girona, you can never rule them out, but I think that in a sense that the table and the title might just be settled. I think that 6 points is a big gap that it could be done, but it's unlikely for Real Madrid to firstly drop that much points for the next 12 games or whatever, and for Girona to not lose a single game. So that is that. But let's talk about Valencia and how they have been playing this season. Now we'll talk about their home form because away from home doesn't really matter. Their home form, last game against Sevilla, they drew 0-0, and funnily enough, they have not played in 2 weeks. Right? They haven't played in 2 weeks because after Sevilla played them, Sevilla played us. Um, they beat Almeria, who are the worst team in the league, so you would expect them to win. They beat Athletic Club Bilbao, and I think that that is a big, big statement because Athletic Club are fifth. They have played really, really well. They've beaten Girona, they've beaten Barcelona, they've beaten Atletico Madrid this season, and Valencia have beaten them. And you have to give them credit. In the Copa del Rey, they lost at home 3-1 to Celta. And then start of the year they beat Villarreal at home. They drew Barcelona at the Mestalla. They beat Atletico Madrid 3-0 all the way in September. So this is a side that when it comes to playing the big teams at home, show up. They show up. And I think that you have to look at them as a big threat. I think if you look at them, they used to be a side in the top 4. This is a side, I remember those days. Rodrigo, Parejo, Coquelin, Kondogbia. Those days. This is a side that were in the top 4, top 6, and they've dropped down to 9th this season. A win would put them 8th and 1 point behind Real Sociedad in 7th. So this is the side that are very, very, very strong. They're very, very good. They're playing really, really, really well, and you have to take them seriously. In terms of the kind of players they have, Pepelu, I think is a huge threat. Hugo Duro, ex-Real Madrid player. Yaramchuk up top. Sergi Canos. Diego Lopez. Those are just the attackers. Amala in midfield. Javi Guerra in midfield. They've got this Turkish defender, I want to say. Otskar. Mosquera. Mamadashvili, Jose Gaya, Hugo Guillamon. They've got Thierry Correa, um, Mukhtar Diakabe, Andre Almeida in the midfield. So this side is pretty solid from attack to defense. Is a pretty, I wouldn't say average, but it's a mid-table team. They're in ninth, as I said. They're playing well against the big team. They show up, especially at home. This game is gonna be tough, with it being away from home. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. And I don't want to talk about these sort of things, but obviously with what happened last season and Vinicius Junior and the racist things that happened, obviously it is wrong for it to happen. But I think the number one thing is that if it does happen again, which we don't, no one wants it to happen, but if it does happen again, something has to be done here. Something has to be said, and some actions has to be taken here, because I think this has come to a point where La Liga are almost saying, you know what, you're on your own, Vinny. And Javier Tebas can come out and say, look, we are all with Vinicius and we have done a lot to stop this from happening, but there is no proof and there is no evidence to suggest and show that anything has been taken, any actions has been taken, anything has been done, in the last 2 years at least. And I hope that, obviously it doesn't happen in the first place, but in the event that it does happen, something gets taken seriously. And then and it's easy to say Vinicius just don't care about it, or just let the football do the talking. It's easy, but when it's targeted at you, when thousands and thousands of people are targeting you alone, it comes to a point where it's just not tolerable, if that's a word. But you just can't tolerate that kind of behavior, and it's not easy to just put that kind of thing aside and just say, I'm gonna focus on my football. So I do think that Vinicius has to still play. I don't think we should drop him for this game. I don't think we have to show Valencia and the fans that, oh, we are cowards and we are scared of them. Let Vinny play. Let Camavinga play. Let Tchouaméni play. Let Mendy play. Let Rudiger play. Let Rodrigo play. Because this has to be stopped in a way. And I think enough is enough. Anyways, let's talk about the team that I'll put out. Ingo Lunin, I think that he's currently definitely the number one, and I think he will be the number two. I think Kepa will go away to Chelsea now. I just can't see a way. Hasn't played in, I want to say, 10 games or so. It's not looking good for Kepa, that is to say. And we saw earlier in the season when Kepa came in, he was the main keeper. He got injured, Lunin came in, and then suddenly something changed Ancelotti's mind to rotate. And ever since, it's been Lunin. So something, either in training, must have shown Ancelotti that Lunin is better. Because at a period of time of the season, both of them were basically about as good as each other. Neither of the keepers were better than the other. So I believe that something has changed Ancelotti's mind across the last month or two, that he's now putting his faith more in Lunin than Kepa. And I think that I'm totally fine with that. As I said, to me, both keepers are similar and are pretty much equal. And I think that either ways, they're going to be the backup to Courtois when he comes back next season. And I would rather not spend 25-30 million on a backup keeper and invest that money, somewhere else. So I'm totally fine with Lunin. Contracts are apparently, being held talks for a new contract, maybe renewal, maybe extension, who knows. But that's good to hear. The back line, I've got Mendy ahead of Fran Garcia, and that applies to every time we play a team that don't play very deep. Mendy is needed, because when you play against a team that play very deep, Fran Garcia is valuable. It's a good asset to break that right side of the defense. But when you're not playing against a team that plays so deep, I wouldn't put the risk and playing an attacking wingback slash fullback in Fran Garcia. So I'll play Mendy. On the other side, you can have a bit more attacking creativity with Lucas Vazquez. Totally fine. The centre back duo, with what we have, we've got to go with them. Nacho and Rudiger. CDM, Tchouaméni, important position, important player. And the other two midfield position, I've gone Camavinga, who is now back. Wait, I could have put Carvajal. Do I put Carvajal? I actually, you know what, right? I kind of, I do believe Carvajal will actually play. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I don't know why I actually didn't think of that. But obviously Carvajal and Camavinga both got suspended, so that does mean that they are both back. But I think, yeah, Carvajal will actually play on the right now that I think about it. And Camavinga will play in the midfield with Valverde and Tchouaméni, because Cruz started against Sevilla, so I don't see him play. And Luka Modric, I feel like he's gonna get rested. I just feel like either he's gonna get rested or he's gonna come off the bench again. And maybe it's a bit of a spoiler, but I do believe he will be played in the big Champions League games. You know, the RB Leipzig game that we've got this, upcoming, so-called upcoming, midweek. And then the front line, you don't really know what to expect here. Simply because it could be Brahim, it could be Arda Güler. Bellingham, I think, might return to the bench, and I read something that Bellingham might be not forced but pushed back to Valencia for the game. I'm sorry, but I'm not taking that risk. I'd rather start Brahim Diaz, who has shown that he is capable enough of doing the job when Bellingham isn't here. So there's no need to rush Bellingham back. So I'm totally fine with Bellingham, either not being in the squad or just being on the bench. I wouldn't rush Bellingham back if he's not fully fit. If he says that, look, I'm fully fit now, okay. But if he's not, there is no need to do the rushing and everything to force what could be the potential of another injury. The front two, it's going to be Vinny and it's going to be Rodrigo. Joselu, I think, is still out for the next 2 weeks or something. So that's that. And, you could say drop Rodrigo for Brahim and then bring Arda Güler or Bellingham back in. I wouldn't do that. I mean, Arda Güler, I don't think this game suits him. I think that the fact that he didn't even come on against Sevilla, Valencia are a physical team. Let's be honest, they are. If you want to play Arda Güler, you have to wait. And maybe when you play, who do we have in the next games? He's not going to play, or he's not going to start against Leipzig. Let's make that clear. But, you're looking at maybe a Celta Vigo when it's at home as well. Maybe a Athletic Club. Maybe a Real Betis, but that's the end of the season. So, the game time for Arda Güler is limited. And this season has flew past him because most of the season he's been injured. So, it's a shame, but I can't see him starting, especially away from home as well. I think the home games he could start. You could see Arda Güler starting any of the next few home games, but away from home, I just can't see it. Score predictions, look, away from home, as I said, a big game against a side that play well, against a big team. I'm going to say 2-1 to Real Madrid. Gotta have the confidence, but I don't see Real Madrid blowing Valencia apart. I see Valencia scoring, but Real Madrid to win. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the man subscribe, turn the on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.